The air is thick with the smell of death, vinegar, and desperation. You lean over the patient, your leather mask creaking with every movement, your glass eyepieces fogging up. The family stares at you from the corner of the room, their faces a mask of hope and terror. They think you're a man of science, a beacon in the darkness. They're wrong. You have absolutely no idea what you're doing. You poke the weeping black pustule on the man's neck with your long wooden stick. He screams. You nod sagely, as if this has revealed some profound medical truth. Congratulations! You've just performed your first consultation of the day. The only thing you've diagnosed is that this man is, to use a technical term, completely screwed. And you're probably next. Rewind. Your first career choice wasn't walking biohazard. You were supposed to be a barber surgeon. You know, a respectable job where you get to give terrible haircuts and pull teeth with a pair of pliers. But it turns out you had a fatal flaw for that profession. A squeamish stomach and hands that shook more than a leaf in a hurricane. After you accidentally gave the mayor a haircut that made him look like a half-plucked chicken, you were politely invited to find a new career. So you tried selling pies. Then you tried selling slightly less moldy pies. Your future was looking bleak. You were broke, jobless, and living in a world where the average life expectancy was a generous 35. Then she arrived. The Black Death. The Great Pestilence. She doesn't knock. She kicks down the door, cops in your face, and redecorates the whole town in boils and misery. The real doctors, the ones with fancy degrees and even fancier robes, take one look at the situation, say nope, and flee to their country estates. Suddenly, the town council has a job opening. It's an entry-level position with great visibility, but a slightly higher than average turnover rate. The job title? Plague Doctor. The main qualifications? A pulse and a willingness to get near sick people. You're not their first choice. You're not even their 10th choice. You're what's left after all the qualified, smart, and self-respecting people have already left town. The job interview is simple. Are you breathing? The councilman asks. You nod. Willing to wear the suit? You nod again. Congratulations, you're hired. Your signing bonus is the fact that you get to live in the house of the last plague doctor. The rent is free, mostly because he died in the living room last Tuesday. Now for the fun part, your new uniform. It's the 17th century equivalent of a hazmat suit, designed by someone who thought the disease was caused by bad smells and demonic fashion sense. First, the coat. It's a long, heavy cloak of waxed leather. It's hot, it's stiff, and it smells faintly of goat. The idea is that it'll stop the plague from touching you. Sure, let's go with that. Then comes the wide-brimmed hat, which shows you're a doctor, and the leather gloves, which are supposed to keep your hands clean. Spoiler alert, they don't. But the real centerpiece is the mask, that iconic, terrifying bird mask with a beak a foot long. You look like a nightmarish, leather-clad stork here to deliver death. But there's a reason for the beak. It's not to peck your patients. It's a primitive respirator stuffed with every sweet-smelling thing you can find. Mint, cloves, camphor, rose petals, and a sponge soaked in vinegar. The going theory is that the plague is a miasma, a cloud of poisonous air. If you can't smell the death, it can't get you. It's like toddler logic. If I can't see you, you can't see me. It's scientifically, demonstrably, fatally wrong. But it makes you feel slightly better as you walk into a house full of dying people. Finally, you get your cane, a long wooden pointer stick. This is your primary medical instrument. It's for poking patients, for lifting their bed sheets, for pushing them around, all without ever having to actually touch them. It's the 17th century version of a social distancing tool. Your workday starts with the sound of the death cart bell. That's your alarm clock. Bring out your dead, a cheerful voice calls. You grab your stick, stuff some extra lavender in your beak, and get to work. Your primary job isn't to heal people. Let's be clear about that. Healing is way above your pay grade. Your job is to try, and your methods are creative. Your go-to treatment is bloodletting. You place a few leeches, your slimy little coworkers, on the patient and let them suck out the bad blood. Rhetorically, does it work? Of course not. It just weakens them faster. But it looks medical, and that's half the battle. Next up is lancing the buboes. Those are the big swollen lymph nodes in the armpits and growing that are the plague's signature calling card. You take a knife, say a quick prayer that you don't pass out, and pop it. Ugh. The result is an explosion of things you wish you could unsee, unsmell, and unexperience. It's messy, it's agonizing for the patient, and its main effect is causing a massive open wound that's just begging for infection. But hey, you're doing something. Then there are the potions. You prescribe a delightful cocktail of crushed minerals, dried frogs, and ground up unicorn horn, which is suspiciously just bone dust from the butcher. It tastes like dirt and does absolutely nothing, but it gives the family something to do. But being a plague doctor isn't just about bad medicine. You're also a glorified census taker. You have to keep a record of who's died for the town records. You're also a last-minute lawyer, witnessing wills for people who are hours away from death. Socially, your life is over. You're not a doctor, you're an omen. When you walk down the street, people don't greet you. They cross to the other side, board up their windows, and probably make a sign to ward off evil. You eat alone, you sleep alone. The only company you have is the constant cloying smell of herbs in your mask and the ever-present fear in your gut. One day, you're called to the home of a wealthy merchant. His little girl is sick. You walk in and she looks at you with wide, terrified eyes. She isn't scared of dying. She's scared of you. You try all your useless tricks. You wave smoking herbs. You place a lucky amulet on her forehead. You tell her a story. She dies in your arms an hour later. Her father doesn't weep. He just stares at you with empty eyes and pays you your fee. That night, you don't count the silver. You just sit in your empty house and wonder if you're a doctor or just the angel of death's very well-dressed assistant. The days blur into a parade of misery. The death carts are overflowing. The town is a ghost of what it once was. You're exhausted, emotionally numb, and you've been wearing the same goat-scented coat for 6 months. Then, it happens. It starts with a shiver you can't shake, then a headache that feels like a blacksmith is using your skull for an anvil. You tell yourself it's just fatigue. But that night, as you're getting ready for bed, you feel a dull ache in your groin. You check, and there it is. A small, hard lump. The bubo. Your own personal, grape-sized death sentence. The irony is so thick you could choke on it. You, the plague doctor, have the plague. You try your own cures. You bleed yourself until you're dizzy. You try to lance the bubo but faint from the pain. You swallow your own disgusting potions. Nothing works. You lie in your bed, alone in the house of the last plague doctor. The city's bells toll for someone else, but you know they'll be tolling for you soon. Your last thought is that you hope the next guy to wear the suit at least washes it first. Your legacy? It's complicated. You didn't save anyone. Your methods were barbaric. But you stayed when others fled. You were the only one willing to walk into the shadow of death for a handful of silver and a sliver of a chance. Years later, your image, the beak, the hat, the stick, will become one of the most terrifying symbols in history. A boogeyman for children, a costume for festivals. They'll forget the poor, terrified, unqualified sap who was actually inside the suit just trying to survive the end of the world with nothing but a pocket full of potpourri. So, thanks for watching, and congratulations on having access to things like antibiotics and, soap. If you want to see what other horrible historical jobs you could have had, just click the next video. We promise it's just as depressing.